Lali Lule Lo. Metal Gear Solid 3 is widely known as the best game ever known. It's a game about betrayal, love, and war. Released in 2004, directed by Hideo Kojima with the character design done by the Yoji Shinkawa, the game became an instant classic, starring the voice talents of returning David Hayter, of whom I am a massive fan, and Brian Cummings. The game introduced so many systems that revolutionized gaming. It follows the story of long-time Metal Gear Solid villains, Revolver Ocelot and Naked Snake, or Big Boss. It shows what disillusioned Naked Snake with the US and what made him into Big Boss himself. I want to talk about Hideo Kojima. I'm a massive fan of his works, everything from PT to Policenauts. I have loved Metal Gear Solid since I played Metal Gear Solid 4 on my PS3 when I was 9 and it got hooked into my head. I got stuck in the first level, but I never forgot the feeling it gave me. Even now I can close my eyes and I can see exactly what the opening level looks like. What I'm trying to say is that I do love Metal Gear Solid and it has affected the way I see things. However, the fanbase of Metal Gear Solid sees Hideo Kojima as some kind of god. I don't think so. I think he can make mistakes and not all of his works are as incredible as they say. My most controversial opinion is that Metal Gear Solid can survive without him being a part of it. The gameplay is insanely advanced for its time. It's a survival stealth game and you have to eat to regain your stamina. You can shoot little creatures like frogs and snakes and an alligator. Naked Snake has to eat those things so his hands don't shake and his stomach doesn't growl. Sometimes when you encounter enemies, they might have storage/munitions room and you can blow those up using TNT. There's also a helicopter after the Virtuous mission, and if you blow that up, it doesn't show up in a later section. When you return to a section after exploding its munitions room, the soldiers won't be well armed and will move in a sluggish way thanks to starvation. The game has a fun way of keeping up with how many people you've killed, as during the Sorrow boss fight, they all come back as ghosts. The game is also stealth-focused, and as such has quite a few mechanics regarding that. You can hide in long grass, use different camouflage, paint your face. It ties its gameplay into the story by allowing the player to use CQC, the martial arts made up by the boss and Naked Snake. You can hold soldiers up for information, and once you're done with them, you can slit their throat or snap their neck. Sometimes you might eat some poison food, and what do? Spin Snake around a bunch on the pause screen, and he just pukes. The game is filled with these little details, and that's what makes it remembered so fondly. That's without mentioning the healing mechanics. You can dig the bullet out of the wound using a knife, you can apply bandages, you can apply stints, ointment, and all sorts just to heal him up. The story begins inside of an airplane in the Russian airspace. Major Zero, going by the codename of Major Tom, is talking to Jack, going by the codename of Naked Snake, about the mission to recover Sokolov from the Russians. Snake performs the world's first Halo jump and goes on his merry way. He finds Sokolov, but is found by Revolver Ocelot, a young GRU leader. Snake and Ocelot fight, but Ocelot's gun jams and Snake knocks him out. He chases the fleeing Sokolov and finds him cowering behind a tree. They spot the Shagohod, the prototype for Metal Gear. It's capable of launching nuclear ICBMs. Snake and Sokolov talk about why Sokolov would actually build that thing, and they run into the boss, an older blonde woman who used to be allies with Snake. Sokolov is kidnapped by the Fear, and the boss breaks Snake's arm and throws him into the rushing rapids below. Colonel Volgin fires a nuclear missile at a Russian building and blames the Americans. This starts Operation Snake Eater, a song that every Metal Gear Solid fan knows the words to. Snake's mission is simple: kill Volgin and the boss, recover Sokolov, recover the remaining warhead, and destroy the Shagohod. Snake begins his merry mission with another jaunt through Dremochij. I have no idea how to pronounce that. He hears a horse neigh loudly and follows the sound to another meeting with the boss. She lays him out and tells him to leave, pointing a gun at him and blowing up an aircraft. He makes his way to where Sokolov was previously contained, a spooky place called Rasvet. I'm so confused about the Russian pronunciation. And finds Adam. But it is soon revealed that she is not Adam. They are then ambushed by GRU soldiers, but the woman kills them all promptly. She names herself as Eva, and Snake stares at her boobs. She drops a few subtle hints at her true motives and gives Snake a gun. He reacts like a kid on Christmas. She tells Snake where Sokolov is being held. They both find themselves surrounded, and Snake dispatches the soldiers to find Ocelot has taken Eva hostage. Snake escapes and runs into him later after an outpost, and they fight. The fight is disrupted by an annoying amount of hornets. To circumvent the hornets, Snake jumps off a cliff. He walks through a cave and fights the pain. He wins and the pain explodes. He wades through a small river and comes across Volgin and Ocelot torturing Sokolov. He hits the Kojima Classic and pisses himself, and we see the end in the fear. Snake goes on to the Graniny Gorky lab to rescue Sokolov. However, he finds Granin, the foremost weapons scientist of the Soviet Union. He talks for a while about Sokolov, and Snake goes elsewhere to find Sokolov, Groznygrad. On his way there, he fights the Fear, a really weird guy who's very easily fooled by fake death pills. He then sneaks around for a while and fights the End, who he also dispatches quickly. Snake finally climbs up the Snake Eater ladder, the most infamous ladder in all of fiction, and emerges on the mountain base which overlooks Groznygrad, where he meets up with Eva again. She gives him a bunch of ramen and a key to the underground path to Groznygrad. On his way there, he's ambushed by the Fury, who is dispatched with slightly less ease. He enters the science wing of Groznygrad and steals the identity of Ivan Rydenovich Rykov. However, this disguise is seen through by Volgin, all thanks to a good and proper ball fondling. Volgin is knocked down twice and Sokolov loses his knees. Snake is tortured by Volgin's electricity powers and exceptionally thick head. Snake is further tortured in a torture room and Sokolov is killed. Snake loses his eye thanks to the muzzle flash and is sent to prison. He is fed by the Johnny Sasaki, the best character in the entire franchise. He escapes through a manhole into the sewers and is cornered by Ocelot at the end of the sewers. However, instead of giving up, he jumps off and sort of dies. He sees the afterlife, which begins his boss fight with the Sorrow, where anything that killed you during your game will come back to try and kill you now. The Sorrow isn't as much beaten as he is just sort of bored. Eva requests that they meet up at a waterfall nearby, and she shoots a few dudes and rocks up on her bike in her Tatiana disguise. They flirt a bit, but Snake pushes her off of him. Snake sneaks back into Groznygrad and sets C3 on the Shagohod to try and destroy it. He is interrupted by Volgin and the boss, with Ocelot by their side. Volgin monologues, then they fight. Snake wins, of course, and hurries to detonate the C3. Eva picks him up and they drive on out of there on her bike, gunning down soldiers and being chased by Volgin in the Shagohod all the while. They reach the bridge and snipe the C3 trap, detonating it. This doesn't work, however, and the Shagohod and Volgin survive and commence the final fight. Volgin sort of then fuses with the Shagohod and falls for Eva's mockery. Volgin gets defeated and dies spectacularly, becoming a lightning rod for more power than his body can handle. He would, of course, return as the Man on Fire. Volgin's soldiers give chase to Snake and Eva until Eva gets injured and they barely make it to the lake. He finds the boss in a flower field and they talk about everything that's happened, about the philosophers and war, about how she loves the Sorrow and births a child, Revolver Ocelot. They fight to the death. A battle between a mother and son for a meaningless title, a burden. He guns her down with her own gun, the Patriot. The white flowers turn red and the boss's horse whinnies in dismay. The new boss, the big boss, escapes to Eva's plane. Ocelot boards the plane and challenges Big Boss to one final duel. They both point revolvers at each other, clicking empty. They load one and juggle them. It's up to the Big Boss to choose correctly. He chooses correctly and Ocelot jumps from the plane, allowing Big Boss and Eva's escape. They laugh and end up sleeping with each other. Eva reveals that she's a triple agent with ties to China. Big Boss gets formally awarded the title of Big Boss and the game ends. Not with fanfare, not with smiles, but with a single tear. If I can get through the storyline without crying, I can move on to the analysis of the characters. Naked Snake, Jack, or Big Boss, is a man made up of several incredible accomplishments. He has incredibly layered and complex relationships with everyone he meets. His relationship with the boss is wildly detailed. Still, loads of people aren't actually sure, thanks to Snake's confusing words, what their relationship is. From my understanding, the boss saw Snake as a son, and Snake saw her as so much more. Him and Eva have a toxic and manipulative relationship. They both lie and use each other. The boss is a child of war, and it shows in his lack of trust in anyone new. Volgin is almost 100% at least bisexual. No straight guy knows what his best friend's balls feel like to such a degree that you can tell from touch, even through undergarments. He is a sadist, but he is incredibly intelligent, and to counterbalance that, he is incredibly paranoid. Eva is a woman of many faces and even more loyalties. However, she gets caught up in her own feelings towards Snake being unable to kill him. This shows that she can be easily swayed by emotion, a poor character choice for a spy. I can see just why this game is so well loved by fans and critics alike. The game is filled to the brim with little secrets and little karoppies. It has a beautiful story and knows just when to tug on the heartstrings and when to be silly. It is a perfect 10 out of 10. Well done, Kojima.